Hello beautiful ones, and welcome to another Galactic Mayan astrology report. So this is a report for the 14th of March 2023, and I'm beaming at you from inside my home for once. I am. I've had the lurgy on the back of a bloody joyous breakthrough, fucking breakdown of a blue hand Wavespell. All the emotional transformations. Genuinely amazing, but just finding it fascinating too that there seems to be this thing of like a lot of the people that surround me when we go through these gateways of breakdown to breakthrough. On the flip side, there's then this like body purge that comes too. I've also stopped coffee. So yeah, my body's like, and it's pissing it down outside. So I was like, no. So yeah, man. Yellow Sun Wavespell, that's what we're moving into. Yellow Sun Wavespell, the Yellow Sun archetype. So you may or may not know, depending on how many times you've watched me blabber on about these things, or indeed done your own research, that there are 20 archetypes within Galactic Mayan astrology, and each of those 20 archetypes is a representation of one of the faces of what it is to be a human. And the 20 archetypes run in a line or in a cycle. It's really a cycle, but because we use a grid, it's a line. And anyway, the final of the 20 signs is the archetype of the Yellow Sun. And that's indicative of what the Yellow Sun archetype is all about. Okay, so the Yellow Sun is a yellow sign, and the yellow signs are about flowering, they're about revealing, and they're like the final step of the red, white, blue, yellow process. So we've got the red, awaken, the white, refine, the blue, transform, and then the yellow is this like the flowering that comes at the end. There's a kind of softness to the yellow signs, even though there's a depth in the challenge in the way that the yellow energy comes through us. It's a very all I can do is this motion. It's like a really, like a ooh, and we're in high frequency. So the sun archetype is a representation of integration. So all of the different archetypes that have come before, the yellow sun is the combination of them all. So there's really, within the yellow sun archetype, and I always make reference to one of my friends who's a yellow sun, and she's been kind of on the leading edge of internal family systems since the get-go. And internal family systems is a psychotherapeutic model that is all about essentially that we've got all of these different parts operating inside of us that have got good intentions, but that come forward in different ways. And the process really is about learning to love and understand and have relationships with all of these different parts of ourselves from the core self, which is this unwavering love that is blissfully connected at all times, so our higher self, or whatever you want to call it. So the yellow sun energy is a little bit of that vibe, and it's wonderful. I love when it's so clear, the person, when people's archetypes are so clear in what they choose to do with their lives, the mirror of it. I love it when that happens. But yeah, so within the yellow sun archetype, we're really on this journey, this 13-day process of, during the Wavespell, of dropping in and cultivating relationship with the aspects of ourselves that we struggle with the aspects of other people that we struggle with. But really it's about this internal process, as is everything. So if we're finding that we're struggling with a certain person in a certain relationship or whatever it is, that's because internally we have some kind of struggle between the part of us that they're reflecting that's inside of us and our whole system. So it's sort of an opportunity for us to, instead of pull away, instead of trying to fix, instead of trying to override, to develop relationship with those aspects of self. And what comes, like the message with the yellow sun is illumination. It's about bringing things to light. It's, this Carl Jung process. Was it Carl Jung that was on about that? Maybe I've just totally butchered that. Anyway, the guy that was all about making the subconscious conscious, bringing the shadow to light. Essentially, it's about love. It's about love. It's like, what are these parts of ourselves that we've cast out, and that we continue to cast out, like, oh, I fucking hate it when I do that behaviour, or I fucking hate it when I don't do that thing that I feel like I should be doing, or we don't open, generally speaking, without lots of practice, to communing with that aspect of us. Like, yo, what's going on? What do you need? Can I help you out? We go into like, I feel trapped, I feel victimized. But the thing that happens when we start to create these new networks inside of ourselves that have channels of love, the network is loving, throughout all those pieces, is that we illuminate, And this is, for me, I really struggle with this word enlightenment, because I feel like the majority of ideology around this term, in my opinion, is full of shit. Enlightenment to me is being able to operate in love, not like dissociation love that is permission, and when you do actually see like the lamas and stuff that have got it going on, the big thing that everybody speaks of is this emanation of love. But then on this quest to find enlightenment, a lot of the ideas as to what that whole thing is, I feel are a bit wonky. But anyway, that's beside the point. Loving relationship connects all the aspects of who we are and brings us into light and awareness, and then that gets to be reflected on the outside too. I've been having quite a few conversations in this past week whilst I've been fucking dying. Oh, thank you for pointing that for me. Oh, poor me. Lots of conversations recently about this whole narrative within the spiritual community, and the way in which I had a big bloody got looped into a Facebook bloody comment thread. It's like, fuck. But luckily I just posted the one thing and then fucked off and turned the notifications off. But it was basically some incredibly spiritual person being really fucking anti-trans and being a bit of a twat, really. A lot of a twat. And about 150 comments of people like, whoop whoop, let's get on the hatred train, fuck compassion, but we're really enlightened. And this is the whole thing that's reflected outside, that's within us all, of this rejection. Instead of accepting where we're at, how we are behaving, we go into this hatred vibe in some attempt to change how that, we've got it totally twisted in it, how that can possibly happen or work is beyond me. So our process really, bigger picture wise, but also particularly within this 13-day process, is about compassion and love. Not, oh, the reason that I behave like this is because of that thing, but, oh, that's where I'm at right now in this moment. I'm going to love myself here. I'm going to meet that need here. I'm going to give that part of me what it needs. And maybe there might be an opportunity to reroute a behaviour from something that may be quite damaging or toxic or coping mechanism or blah, 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 blah. But we're rerouting with love. We're offering an alternative that is more loving. And if we don't manage to reroute, we don't then reject, we continue to love. So really, this process, this yellow sun, really teaches us about enlightenment, which is love, unconditional love, bringing the shadow to light, bringing the aspects of us that really struggle, and healing the aspect of us that got taught to respond to struggle with criticism, with hatred, with shame. Loving all of it so that it all gets rerouted and reintegrated into a different internal reality, a different internal family system, an internal relational sphere that's actually held together through love. And this isn't easy shit, you know, this is hard. It's hard to look in the mirror and change the things that we've always had a toxic narrative about. It's hard to try to lean into more positive responses to I feel like I'm in pain. It's hard to find more loving ways of relating with ourselves and one another, but it is the task. It is the task, and it is the task that takes us to a very different experience of reality. And again, you know, we've kind of following, I keep mentioning the way that the wave spells follow one another. So the previous wave spell that we had was this emotional evolution process of like really going into the alchemy of like, fuck, that's really painful, and it's spinning into gold once I allow it to be expressed and felt. When I allow myself to die, I will rebirth. And then we come into the yellow sun, which is then the like reintegration following that. So within this 13-day process, loving relationship with self is the key. Integrating the aspects of hugely influential relationships that exist internally with our bodies, with our minds, how we respond to things, and finding more loving expressions within, and then that then ripples outside, you know. So notice if you're starting to judge, be a bit of a dick. Notice it there, notice it here, then have a chat with it. What's going on? And yeah, we're all multiple personalities. We're all batshit crazy. This reality is batshit crazy. We ain't got a fucking clue what's going on. All we can do is keep exploring and bringing our vibration closer to love. That's it. Aim of the game. Closer to love, closer to love, closer to love. And then we stop doing weird things to find love. Finding them in substances and powders or relationships that are really not very healthy, or other behaviours that are a bit wonky. So I hope you have a wonderful wave spell. If you are a yellow sun, it's a significant time for you, as is always the case. So we each have our wave spell, the 13-day process that we're born into. And we also have our sign, the day, which we were born on that 13-day wave spell. So we kind of have two primary archetypes. There are other ones that surround us too, but we do have two primary archetypes. I do readings, not really doing them at the moment, but you can be added to a wait list. But you can also look on the Law of Time website. I'll link it below. As I've had my big breakdown, I'm pausing the Patreon idea for a little bit. But one thing that is happening is a Reiki Master training, an Energy Maestro training, in person in the UK over 3 months. It's on my website. I think it's on my website. It should be on my website. But also just have a little look at my website. There might be things that interest you in there. So I think that's all for now, my darlings. Happy wave spell. Celebrating all of us for being here at this time on planet Earth. Celebrating all of the ways that we are reforming our expressions. The expression of divinity that we are. The expression of our ancestral conditioning that we are. The expression of our life experience that we are. being on this conscious evolution mission is it, really, isn't it? It's like, yeah, we do things on the outer world as well, but the biggest thing we do is sorting this shit out. This beautiful, sparkly shit. Alright, sweet peas. Mwah. So much love.